Good day, friends. It is me, HLModTech, and I've got an idea for a 3D printable code blocks lesson. So let's get cracking. So friends, the first step, of course, is to sign in to Tinkercad. If you haven't done that before, I choose sign in with Google. Make sure you choose code blocks, and then we want to create a brand new code block. When you hit new design, the first thing I always do is rename it. This one is going to be an Axolotl. And then if you put your initials after it, that way it's easy to keep track of if you ever download it. Friends, when you're building in code blocks, we always start with objects. Bring out create new object, and our first object is going to be renamed as body. Click OK, and then after that we're going to grab a shape to build with. The first shape we're going to build with is the box. Click on the arrows, and then I want you to type these numbers, 21, 21, and I want the height to be 11. The rest of the spots you can all leave alone. When you hit play, you'll see that that body shows up, but it's below 0. It's always halfway up, so we need to move it 5.5 up. So we'd find the move command, and we take Z, which is up and down, and put a 5.5, which is half of 11. Now when you hit play, it is at 0, 0. We're going to use those same pieces, so we're going to right click and duplicate, and we're going to use those to make the tail. Our tail, we're going to change the numbers to 17 and then 24 and then keep the 11. When you hit play, you will see that we now have two pieces on our cool shape. We just need to move back on Y as well. The distance we're going to move back here is 22.5 and press enter. Now when we click play, you'll see our parts are aligned. Absolutely awesome. This is our Axolotl's body. We are going to make a group of it, and then we're going to add a bonus move to get it out of the way. So we're going to change our Z to 50 so it's up above us, and we can work on our next part that we're going to use for the project. So you can see there it moved out of the way. I'm going to nudge this to the side. Notice if you ever lose a part over here, you can always use the slider to move this to where you need. So now it's a little bit out of the way. I can also collapse these, and we're going to create our next object below the first object. Notice we always need to move our code lower for the next object. When we rename the variable, this one is going to be the tail. Our tail is going to be built with the half or the round roof shape. I need you to find the modify and rotate command because we need to turn it, and we need to switch from axis X to axis Z. We're going to keep the 90 and hit play, and you'll see that it brings out our shapes, and now it draws that and it spins it around so it can be the tail going back. Once again, we are going to modify it with a move command, and we're going to use a scale command. I'll bring those out at the same time. We're going to move it on a Y of 23, and we're going to do a Z of 15. For the scale, I'm going to do 0.3 for X. For Y, I'm going to leave it 1. For Z, I'm going to leave it 1 as well. I'm going to speed up the play, and now when I hit play, you'll see that I've got the top of that tail that's going to be for our Axolotl. The next piece of our tail is going to be the wedge shape. When you bring the wedge shape out, we need a move and scale again. So we click modify. Here's our move. Here's our scale. For the move, we're going to type 44 and 10 out here in Y and Z. For our scale, we are going to once again do 0.3. And then we're going to do 2 for Y, and we're going to keep the 1. When you hit play now, you can see that you've got that tail nudging backwards. Next, we are going to cut a hole for a keychain back here. We're going to do that by bringing out the shape that is a cylinder, dropping it down below, and making it the hole. We're going to change its radius to 2.5. Make sure you press enter. And then I'm going to change the size to 64 and press enter. Once again, we are going to bring out a move. So we go to modify. And we are going to move this one 45 on the Y and 5 on the Z. we need to rotate it around Y. And then when you hit play, you'll see it show up in the back. You can see that is a nifty place for the keychain. So we are going to simply make it a group. And then once again, I'm going to move it out of the way. I am just going to duplicate this move so they'll both be the same height. When we hit play, you can see it is up at the exact spot where we want to put it. But now we can keep building the rest of our axolotl parts. Friends, it is time to build a gill. So this time we're going to bring out create new object again. We're going to rename it gill. And then we are going to start with the box shape. When you bring the box shape out, we need to expand it. And I want you to type these numbers. Notice I'm going to stack this down below so I have more room to play. We are going to go 4, we are going to go 11, and 7 for the measurements of our gill. Since we have 7 as a height, to get it to 0, 0, that means we need to move it 3.5. Once again, I'll hit play quick, and you can see this is the start of a gill. Our gills are going to poke out to the side, so we need to do a rotate. And this will be around Z 90 degrees. Once again, a quick play, and you can see that is going to be aimed the way the gill is. We are just going to duplicate all of this and change it to the little hole that we're going to cut it out to make it look like a gill. So first, of course, make it a hole, and then we're going to do 9, and we're going to change the height to only 1.5. We need to take that Z, and instead of 3.5, we're going to raise it up 5. When you hit play, you can see that now we've got a little wedge up here. We just need to nudge it on X. We're going to do a nudge of 2. And then we want 2 of these, so we're going to duplicate that again. Once again, they are both holes. This one, instead of a Z of 5, we're only bumping it up a Z of 2. And then we are finally going to group those. I'll bring out that group now so you can see it all happen at once. Check it out. There is our awesome little gill that is ready for assembly. Once again, let's move it out of the way for a minute. Here's my move, and let's do that temporary 50 again and hit play so it's out of the way as we create our next part. I'm going to move this down so we have room to build. Friends, our next object is going to be called the toe. Rename, type toe, press enter. We're going to once again build with the wedge. When you bring the wedge out, friends, we need to take this from its normal size and we need to scale it. On X, we're going to type 0.05, so it's going to be real skinny. On Y, it's going to be 0.15 and press enter. And on Z, it's going to be 0.15 and press enter. Of course, we also have to have a move, and for Z, we're going to type 1.5 and press enter. When we hit play, you can see we have got a tiny little toe that is sitting at 0, 0, which is perfect. Friends, the next part we're going to build is the leg. When you bring out create new object, the leg is going to use the toe, so you need to make sure toe is above the leg. Let's rename that variable and call it leg. Tell it OK. We are going to build our leg with a rectangle. When you bring out the box, of course, connect it. You may notice that I've slid this over so I've got a better view of it. Also, the leg has to be below the toe. We're going to do measurements of 9, 5, and 3 for our leg. We're going to then modify it with a move command. Remember, it's a height of 3, so we type 1.5 to get it at 0, 0. Now it's time to add the toes. We do that with an add a copy of an object. Then move to our data and we bring out the toe. We need to move it to the correct location because right now it'd be in the center of it. The first one that we're going to move, we're just going to do 3. We're going to do 4, and we're going to leave Z at 0 because we already fixed that over here. Friends, when you hit play, check it out. We have got our first toe already attached. Now you can see the other toe inside here. That's fine. We're going to delete it when we're done assembling the leg. We are going to duplicate that toe, but we need to rotate it and change its locations. Let's bring out our rotate. I'll put it in between. We are going to rotate on Z 180 degrees. So this is going to point the other way, right out here. And then we're just going to change Y to -4. So it's on the exact opposite side. When you hit play, bam, front and back toes, just like that. We're going to duplicate this copy of a toe again. And this time we're going to change the rotation to -90. And we're going to change our move to 6 and 0. When you hit play, boom, we have just added our center toe, and we just need the 2 toes on the other side. I'm going to use the zoom out real quick, and I'm going to move my gill so it's further out of the way. And then I can zoom back in so we can finish this up. We're going to right-click duplicate and move it down below. And we're going to change Y to 2. And then we're going to duplicate that again and change Y to -2. Friends, when you hit play, bam, almost instant axolotl foot. How cool is that? Now you may notice these poke up just a tiny little bit. We're going to fix that by bringing in another shape. So simply grab a box. We're going to change its measurements to 10, 6, and 2. We're going to make it a hole, so it's going to cut off these little edges. And then we need to find a move. When you bring the move out, we just need to change the Z to 4. We'll hit play so you can see how that's going to land right on top. Perfect for slicing those all to the exact size. And then we're going to simply create a group. And then we need to delete the toe object, because now we do not need that one that was hiding under there. So we go to data and we get rid of it. Now when we hit play, we have got an epic foot. Alright friends, now that we've got all our parts, let's get everything arranged so we can build with it. So we know we need to have the toe above the leg, and then we also need to have the gill up here so that we can assemble under it. The big thing is all of these parts have to be above the final axolotl. So I've raised them all up. If you double check, you can adjust your code. We need to make all of these Z's back to 0 on the bottom. So I'm going to find this one right here. And the toe was already fine. So now when we hit play, all of our parts will be stacked on the bottom. Kind of hard to see, but if you peek underneath, you can see they exist. Now we're going to assemble the final axolotl. Create new object, make sure it's down below. This is the most common mistake I see in class, is people move that to the top. I'm going to just call mine axe because it's easier to type. The axe is going to be built with the following parts. We add a copy of the body. I'm going to duplicate that, and I'm going to throw out the body. Now I know I'm going to need more of these parts, so I'm going to duplicate, and I'm going to duplicate, and I'm going to duplicate. So if you're keeping track here, we've got a tail, we've got 3 legs, and 4 legs. So we'll add our 4 legs, and then finally we've got to add our 2 gills. If you end up having to delete one of these later, that is fine. It's just nice to have these all out here at once, because now we can drop in the tail, we can drop in leg 1, leg 2, leg 3, and leg 4. And then we can also add gill 1 and gill 2. Now when you're done building, we need to delete all these pieces. So once again, we're going to go back to modify, and we're going to bring out a delete object, and we need 1, 2, 3, 4 things deleted. So I'm just going to duplicate, and then I'm going to duplicate the 2, so now I'm getting rid of my 4 original parts. Once again, get rid of the original body, original tail, original gill, and then the original leg. And we already deleted the toe up here. So the body and tail are in perfect spots, but we need to move the legs. Once again, we just go back to modify, and we're going to move leg 1, and we just need to move it on X. I'm going to type the number 8 and press play, And you can see this will all assemble, and there is our first leg popping out, but we also need to move it on Y. We're going to change that Y to 15, so we're using guess and check to line these up. And you can see that is decent, but we need to move it out a little further. Let's try 12 and see if we like that. That is exactly where I want that leg. So now I'm going to break this apart, and I'm going to duplicate that move, and I'm going to put it below the next leg. If we bring this to a -12, you can see we can hit play, and boom, Axolotl has got legs on both sides, but this one is flipped the wrong way. So we're going to bring out a rotate, and after the move, we're going to rotate on Z, and we know it's 180 degrees. The exact opposite, hit play, and boom, 2 legs. Now this one is not poking up far enough. You can see here if we change this to -15, then they are the same amount on both sides, which is perfect. Let's grab that next move and put it behind this leg. Once again, we're going to do 12, but this time we're going to do 22 and hit play. That leg is too close, so we're going to try 26. Notice there's a lot of guess and check as we get it perfect. That's still too close. We'll do 28, so that way there'll be a gap between the toes. That's pretty awesome. So then we know that we can break this apart, duplicate it, put that in between, reconnect it, and then we can break this apart, duplicate that rotate, and put it down below as well. And then remember, 12 didn't work, so we have to change it to -15. And when we hit play, friends, Axolotl with 2 sweet legs. Tail is in place, hole is cut out. Now we need to just add gills and a face. Friends, let's move this gill into place with a move command, and I'm going to tell you 14 and 3 are good numbers. We are not going to hit play yet though, because we need to rotate it as well. This one rotates around Y, and I'm going to tell you the correct number to use is -15. When you hit play, friends, you will see that Axolotl gill is poking out just dandy. Let's break this apart and duplicate those 2 pieces of code. Put the delete underneath the rotate and bring out our gill. And let's just try -14, so it's moving to the left. And then we hit play, and you'll notice it does not poke out quite the same because we need to do a double rotate. We're going to rotate this one around Z. This one will be around Z, 180 degrees. And when we hit play, that's close, but up and down we are aimed the wrong way. That is because this had to be +15 on this side. Now when we hit play, that turns out absolutely fantastic. Alrighty friends, it is time to add our awesome axolotl face. We're going to do that with the cylinder shape. Bring it in and drop it right above the body. Extend it, and I want you to make the radius 2, and I want you to make the height 3, and I want you to make the sides 64 so it's nice and round. Now we need to move it to the correct location, so once again we're going to go to modify, and we're going to bring out a move, and we're going to bring out a rotate. Once you've got those dropped in above the word body, we're going to move it X of -5, so we're going to make an eyeball to the left, and then we'll do -10 for how far out it comes, and then we're going to move it up the face 8 in Z. For the rotate, we're going to rotate around X, and we want to keep the 90 degrees. If you hit play quick, you can see that the eyeball shows up nice and nifty, but we've got to make it a hole. Break apart your deletes, and we're going to duplicate that because we need 2 eyes. If we make one at -5, we need to make the other one at +5. Reconnect to my body so you can see when we hit play, now they show up as holes, and they're in a great spot for cutting out. The final thing is we're going to make a mouth. We're going to do that with the round roof shape. When you bring it out, we need to grab parts to scale it and adjust it. So let's go out and grab our modify scale. The numbers I'm going to tell you to type right here are 0.6, and then this one is 0.4, and the final one is 0.3. we need to make sure this is a hole as well, and we also need to rotate it. We're going to rotate it around X, and it's going to be 180. So we can just drag that down to the 180 mark, and then finally, since these are holes, we need to create the group that makes our axolotl. Friends, it's the moment of truth. If you've got all your code right and you hit play, you've got a sweet axolotl. The only thing is I forgot to move, so you can see the mouth is cut out inside. Let's break that apart for just a moment. Bring out the move, and let's change that move to be a Y of -12 and a Z of 3. Now when we hit play, you can see that that mouth and eyeballs are cut into our axolotl, and he is totally ready for 3D printing. Friends, there you go, a 3D printable axolotl using Tinkercad Codeblocks. Friends, to export one of these, you simply click export, and you want the STL file for 3D printing, and then make sure if you're in My Classroom, you find the STL folder. Make sure it's got your initials on it and hit save, and it'll be ready for 3D printing. Friends, I'm going to zoom out, and you can see mine is a mess. If you right click and do clean up blocks, it arranges everything in order so that you've got your parts: toe, leg, body, gill, tail, and then finally the axolotl being built. This is a great way to double check your code to figure out what you did right or what you did wrong. As I've watched students in my classroom, the most common thing I see is they forget to make things holes and things like that as they work through. Another one that is common is when I do 0.3, they don't see that, they do 3 holes. So if your object is ever too large, that just means you did not do the decimal when I was scaling it or something like that. Quite often I also see rotation around the incorrect axis. Friends, I hope you had a ton of fun with this and you start to understand just how you can create your own cool objects using Tinkercad Codeblocks. Of course, friends, if you did enjoy the video, please give it a like. Please also hit that share button so more people can learn about HLModTech. Of course, if you've got questions, comments, or suggestions, add them down below. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Smash that subscribe button. And last but not least, hit that notification bell if you want to be the first to know when there's a brand new video from me, HLModTech. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.